Welcome to the Business of Preschool podcast for owners who want to lead well, grow smart, and build a business that's truly worth something. Hosted by Reue, owner, author, and childcare sales specialist. This show gives you the insight and the inside scoop to run your school like a business and sell when the time is right.
Hey everyone, welcome to the BOP Pod. I'm your host, Reue, and I am joined by a fellow podcaster and fellow owner, Erica Saccoccio, and she is the host of the Childcare Director's Chair. Welcome, Erica.
Hey, Chelsea. So excited to be here.
I am too. So it's really fun. We actually just recorded for her podcast and now she's on mine. So this is going to be really fun to kind of continue and freshen the conversation. So I wanted to invite Erica on here today because we met at a conference and we just started talking because I'm nosy and I ask a lot of questions. And I love her story. And so she kind of has a really neat journey of how she got to where she is. And Erica, do you want to kind of just talk about how'd you get started in childcare and what that journey looked like?
Sure. So admittedly, I had no idea that I was going to be in childcare. I did not wake up one day and go, I want to be a teacher, nor did I wake up and say, I think I want to own several childcare centers. I started out as a parent and I went looking for childcare, and there were lots of great programs to pick from. I'm Italian mom, was my first baby, and I just couldn't do it. I just could not leave her with people I didn't know. And so I quit my job, which, by the way, was very lucrative, and ended up here in working in a childcare center. They offered me free childcare for my child, so that worked. That was good. And I found that so many of the skills that I had as a manager and salesperson transferred over beautifully. I had great customer service skills. I had great leadership skills, great sales skills. And so all that just really transferred over. And I started working in the field. I learned a lot. I really dug into regulations. I got promoted within 4 months of being at that center. Ended up being a assistant director literally in 4 months with zero experience, 0 degree. But I'm pretty smart. I figure out things pretty fast and I'm very observant. So just attention to detail. So that attention to detail, I think, and really just kind of being fearless really helped me through my journey. So I worked at that center for about 10 years and it was wonderful. Like I said, I learned a lot, but I had grown as far as I could go. At that point, I had become their VP. The owner did not work on site anymore. And me and my sister were just like, you know what? Let's just do this on our own. So we opened up our first school. We had our first school. And within 8 weeks, and this is not a lie, guys, I'm not exaggerating, within 8 weeks, our center was licensed for 52, was full with a wait list. 8 weeks.
Nice.
At that point, it was pretty close. It was relatively close to where I was working. So I already had a reputation in the area. About maybe a couple months after that, my previous owner that I had worked with, she wanted to sell. And again, she hadn't worked in the business in a while. So she had already kind of exited. And that's a great strategy. You can find somebody to run your center and you can just be gone. And she, like when I say gone, she like moved to the Bahamas gone. Like wasn't even in the country.
Nice.
And I ran a school for a really long time and it was profitable and everything went really great. But at that point, if you can do it to that level, then do it for yourself. For those on the other end, maybe looking to buy a school. So she sold us hers. So we opened that up. So within 6 months, we had 2 centers. About a year and a half later, another location that she had, that the building was owned by her dad. He had somebody in that center. They bailed, right? These are all the true behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They bailed, they left the building. And so we purchased that building and we didn't have money. He did owner finance. at that point because I'm like, I just got 2 loans. Like, there's no way the bank is giving me another loan in less than 3 years. So he financed it. So then that was center number 3. 2 years after that, another center came available that had no connections with anybody I knew. It was pretty small. We bought that. And then we flipped it. We sold it to someone else. And then another center came available that used to be a childcare center. And we're like, oh my God, like this is going to cost like next to nothing to open. It was almost like a turnkey. I mean, we just bought furniture and poof, another center. And then we did that again. And then our first center, the owner wanted to sell the building. We did not want to buy that building. It wasn't big enough and it just didn't meet our needs anymore. So then we took that center, moved down the road and doubled the capacity. So I've opened up 6 childcare centers. And then if that wasn't enough, our after school program started with like 10 girls doing dance in our gym. It grew so big, we had to then open a dance studio. So we had an 80 student dance studio on top of 6 childcare centers. And we did that within 12 years.
I love it.
Yeah. So do you want me to keep going, Chelsea?
Well, I want to talk about just a few of the things before you keep going. So let's recap. You've literally thrown in like every scenario.
Yes, I have.
I talked to someone earlier this week that called me and was like, hey, I want to talk to you about a flip. Can we flip childcare centers? I was like, yeah, we can.
Yes, you can.
Here's what I would do, right?
Yeah.
And so it was just, so you've got a flip, you've got your and I've heard so many of your snippets as part of other people's stories. And that's why when we met, I was like, oh, we got to talk because so many people are like, I'm not alone. And I think a lot of people in this industry feel so alone, right? Like so many people got in over their head and had no idea what they were doing, right? Like,
sure.
I like to call us accidental entrepreneurs. Like, we didn't like set out to do that. We just kind of like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. My business plan had one thing. It said open 1 center. That's what it had. That's what my business plan had, and it took a life of its own.
I mean, but I love that. And how many people do you know that also just like centers pop up?
Yeah.
Like, this opportunity kind of fell in my lap and I said yes. But how cool is it to say yes?
Yeah.
If that's the right opportunity? Don't say yes if it's the wrong opportunity. But how cool is it to be able to say, yeah, let's do this? And you mentioned your sister.
Yeah.
So how is that dynamic of working with your sister?
I have to tell you, my sister is literally my best friend, right? And I know lots of people say don't work with family. I really couldn't imagine not doing it with my family. But I think every family is different. So you have to do, again, what's right for you. Can it get messy? Sure. But the one thing that we agreed, like from day one, is that family, I know this sounds corny, God saying out loud, family is truly first in our family.
Right.
I will never fight with you about money. I will never fight with you about things. We just don't. We work it out. And I love it. I think it's the best thing. My niece works for us, my nephew, my daughter, at one point, my husband. Yeah, but we also have multiple locations and 50 other employees. So we're not like literally sitting in the same room all, 24/7. Although we own the centers together, we're almost like ships in the night. We're very different.
Do y'all do you have clear lanes and handle separate parts of the operation?
Yeah, she runs our after school division and I run our infant, toddler, preschool division.
Okay. So that way y'all did it more by kind of the program. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any advice before we move on? Because your story wasn't over yet. That's what I love about your story. But is there any advice you would give people about that when you're going to work with family? Did y'all set ground rules? Did you sit down and have clear job descriptions? Or
I'm gonna tell you the truth. All right. So the answer is no, we did not. Would I advise that you do? Yes, I would very much advise that you do. Me and my sister are very unique. I do think when it came to our children that we really needed to set much more formalized ground rules. Like we can have that conversation at home, but you're like, I hear I'm your boss, right? So I think it's a little bit harder when you're working with your children than it is with another adult, but that's, just my experience. I think like any good organization, whether people are related to you or not, I think treat it the same way. If somebody is your HR person, whether they're related to you or not, they have certain roles and responsibilities, and there are certain expectations and certain codes of conduct. So I don't think that should change or not change um, based on who it is. It should just be, this is the role, this is the job, this is the compensation.
I love that.
Yeah.
So your story keeps going though. So now we have opened 6 schools.
Mhm.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is, and I think our goal, like I said, my business plan was only like one school. My goal has always been, though, to be the best. It wasn't to be the biggest. And so as you start to grow, and as we talked on my podcast, when you start scaling up, I don't care what kind of systems you have, it starts to get a little messy. That's just my experience. Quality was important to me. Knowing my families, my staff, my children was important to me. Again, everybody is different. There are owners who could walk in their center and the staff wouldn't even know they own the school. I'm not one of those owners. Again, not saying one's good, one's bad. But for me, I really enjoyed knowing the families. I enjoyed knowing the students. And again, my why was like, I wanted to build a place because I really understood where parents were coming from of how hard it is to leave your child. And so that's something that has not left me. Nor unfortunately for my daughter who's 26, that hasn't left her either. That building that she started in, she's never left. She's the director of that building. She has not gotten out of that building in 26 years.
Oh my
I
goodness.
keep her close to me. But yeah, I think you have to just kind of figure out what works for you. So yes, you can scale up and you could really love that, and that could be where you stay. For me, I didn't really love it. And there were other things I wanted to do that were in conjunction with early childhood education. And so, I went back to school. I can continue to get my schooling in early education and leadership. And and I love my family. I mean, I didn't want to spend every waking moment away from them. So yeah, for me, the balance was, what could we realistically enjoy having, still maintain quality. Our center was, the first accredited after school program in our state. We were one of the first programs to be part of our quality rating system. Like there were certain benchmarks for me that were different than how many schools I could have listed on my business card.
Right. And I think there's a perfect size for everyone.
Yeah.
And I love that you said, it's not the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something in our industry, a lot of people think like there's only one way to do things. There is so many different ways to do things. And one of the other things I like to talk about is your definition of success. So how I kind of happened upon this was, for me, my definition of success is being able to make sure I am a present mom and wife and not just physically, right? That the mental chatter as well. And so my definition of success, when I realized it wasn't tied to a number of schools, but it was more tied to my life and lifestyle, that really changed. However, someone whose definition of success is number of schools, they're going to do something different. So when we start looking to who do we want to emulate and who do we want to take all their tactics, you kind of have to ask yourself, what is their definition of success? So I'll put you on the spot. Do you know what your definition of success is for you as a person versus maybe your business?
Well, I love to leave my mark and be memorable. So when I pass on, that people remember the impact and remember the kindness and remember lessons that they learned. And that could be my staff, it could be my my children, it could be my students. And I'm very blessed to, as they say, get my flowers now while I'm still alive. There are so many people that say, like, keep doing what you're doing because you really make a difference. And I love that. I love people, you can tell. I love people. I do. I find great joy in helping others succeed. I feel great joy in being kind and doing what I can for my community. And, I don't know. I mean, I think I grew up poor. I was young, my parents were divorced, and just being able to do things with my kids and my grandkids that maybe we weren't able to do. I feel like that is great. So I don't know. I mean, I think I'm not done yet, Chelsea.
Right.
I'm still writing the story. Right now I'm currently, obviously I have a podcast, but I'm currently going throughout the country and speaking and keynoting and doing breakout sessions and letting folks know, just like what you just said, this is not a one size fits all. Like, we met at the Born to Teach conference, right? Latrice, one of the biggest names in the game, she has one center, just
Mm-hmm.
one center. So again, it has to be good. It has to be excellence. It has to mean something. Like you said, if you have 6 centers as a hot mess express, that is not success by anybody's standard. And I think success too, when you own a childcare center, might mean you're not getting emails in your inbox every day about lack of care. You're not
Mm-hmm.
having staff quit every day because they feel unheard or unseen. So there's so many factors. We all determine it different ways. Um, so I'm sorry, I talk a long time, Chelsea.
Oh, you're good. I'm
So
listening.
I'm hoping I answered your question. But to me,
You did.
success is giving more than you get.
Okay.
Giving
I
more than
like
you
it.
get. Yeah.
I like it. But I think it's so important to start talking about that, because what are people afraid of? Failure, right? Well, if you can't define your success, can you really define your failures? And so we kind of cliffhangered on you got to the number of schools, you
hmm
decided you wanted something different. So what did it take to what changes did you make, and what did it take to do it?
Sure. So one school we sold to a family child care provider who wanted to go to a center, but it wasn't a huge center. The other thing too is, like, as you grow, like, know your numbers. So that was a smaller center. That one was like licensed for like 30 kids. I'm like, that's not worth my time. Not to be fresh, but I wasn't trying. Those, to me, those centers are great if you have a degree and you want to work in the school, and then you're the person running the school, teaching the class, whatever. You know, so that person was in that transitional stage from moving from family childcare to a center, but she didn't want to bite off more than she could chew. And we had similar thoughts about, being present. So that worked out great. And then there was a location that didn't quite fit with our brand exactly, but that was the one I told you was like, it was pretty much just buy furniture and open it. Um,
Yeah.
and after it was open for about 5 years, it just was a little further away. I didn't feel as quite connected to it. Um, I did okay. I mean, it didn't make a huge profit, but it wasn't losing me money either. It was just kind of like, eh. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like, that was easy to let go. We just closed that one. And then we um, moved out of our original location and started from scratch, pretty much. Turned a car dealership into a childcare center and
How
doubled our
many is that one
capacity.
licensed for?
Well, that one's licensed for like 80 students, and the one that we went was like 52, so
Okay.
quite double. But I will say, 2 preschool rooms are double the size that is required by law. So I could have honestly, I know some people are shaking their head. I could have honestly probably licensed it for 100, but we did not.
So
We did
one
not.
of the things I was going to say, when you start your journey to an exit,
hmm
make sure that you do have your max capacity licensed for.
Yeah.
Buyers want to see that. They don't want to take you on your word on it.
hmm
So just a heads up,
Yeah.
not telling you what to
You walk
do.
in the room, you don't even have to tell it. The The preschool rooms are about 1,000 square feet a piece.
Okay.
Yeah, they're big.
Okay.
They're beautiful, lots of lights. We have this, we kept the garage doors, the bays, they just open right up. That was such a selling point during COVID. I literally could just open the door and change the air in the room very quickly.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
So you managed to open under almost all the scenarios, and then you
yeah.
partially exited under all of
Uh-huh.
the scenarios. But what has making that change and saying, you know what, this center is not fitting what we want to
Hmm.
do. This one's, it's just not, it's a little too small, because there is a lot of truth to that. It takes the same amount of energy
Yeah,
and headache and heartache to run a 30 kid school as it does
yeah.
an 80. It really does.
Hmm.
Um, so what did that let you, number one, so it sounds like a lot of those were pretty easy transitions for you.
Hmm.
Um, did you know when you were doing them what you wanted to do with that freed up time, or did that kind of happen as you evolved?
Oh, Chelsea, I love that you make it sound I'm so smart and so no, I am a very spontaneous woman. I
Me
am a
too.
very spontaneous woman. No, I didn't have it all planned out. Life gets messy. No, I just knew that I had more to do. I just knew I had more to do, and I still feel like I have more to do. I feel like before I before I God, I sound morbid. I don't know why, but before I leave, I want to leave with the gas tank empty. I want to do everything that I can do, and I'm going to do that. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you in 5 years if I'll have one center, no centers, or 25 centers. I could not tell you. I couldn't. I live life. I live in the moment. I am spontaneous. I am strategic, so I don't make dumb decisions. But I make decisions based on facts, figures, information, and most of all, my gut. Yeah.
We talked about the gut earlier. You got to listen to it. So you have a podcast. Um, Tell me what inspired that? What did you feel was missing that you said, I think I can give voice to this?
Well, in honesty, I did not listen to podcasts before I created a podcast. Podcasting is, I always say, is my therapy. Kind of like what you had said, like, I know I can't be alone. I knew I couldn't be alone. And I said, you know what? If I'm feeling this, or these are things that I think about as a childcare owner director. And like I said, I've went through all the ranks, so I can relate to a teacher assistant, and so I think that that's different and unique for in many cases, right? Most of the CEOs have never been the van driver, right? It might be this week because they don't have any staff left, but they didn't do it for 4 years. Um, oh my gosh, Chelsea, ask me the question again.
I was totally listening. No, so when you started your podcast, what did
Okay.
you think was missing? What was that motivation behind it? You talked about it being almost like a therapy session
Yeah.
for you.
So, again, not strategic. I just kind of go with my gut. So I did have uh, my aha moment was when I was in a playground at my school, and I'd gotten over COVID probably about maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And I was covering lunches for the teachers. And I remember being on the playground and felt this tightness in my chest. And I wasn't sure if I was having a heart attack, an asthma attack, a panic attack. I didn't really know what it was. Um, I thought I was going to die. Like I literally was standing there going, oh my God, am I going to drop dead in front of these 26 kids? But I couldn't leave because the teachers were on lunch. How scary is that as a childcare owner
Right.
thinking, oh my God, I can't leave. I might possibly die, but I can't leave right now because they will be on a ratio. But no, this is the real thing, right? So I went home that night. Luckily to say I didn't die and it wasn't a heart attack or an asthma attack or a panic attack. Um, it was almost like that movie Waiting to Exhale. I had just been under so much pressure for 4 years. that my body just said, nope, you're done. So I came home. I did something that I've never done before. I told my family I'm leaving. I told my job I was leaving. I basically checked out of the whole world. I went online, looked for a health and wellness place because I knew this could be fixed by a bubble bath, a massage, tub of ice cream, like none of the things. We're going to do it. So I ended up in Arizona. Got on a plane, never flew a day in my life by myself. And I was there for 7 days. While I was there, I wrote a chapter in a book that you have. I wrote a chapter in a book. And when I came home, when I came home, I was a totally different person. And I never looked back. And I don't know if it was that, like, maybe this is where that morbid part comes from. I never looked back. I'm like, if I had died that day, did I do everything I wanted to do? The answer was no. And so I came on the mic and just started talking about it. Yeah, I had lost my mom. A lot of things had really happened those 4 years, but let's like tell the truth. COVID beat the heck out of our industry and the people in it who duct taped it together, like literally duct taped it together. And I lived in a state where they literally took our licenses. We could not open for 3 months. They took our licenses and shut every center down. And then you could open, and then it could be half capacity. And then if a kid got sick and a teacher got, and we all know the story, that went on for forever. Not to mention, will you have a business in 6 months? Will you have a business? We didn't know. Really didn't know. Scary place to be. And all of that kind of just had come crashing down on me. And so I guess my message is don't let the business kill you. Don't let the business kill you, Chelsea. And
that'll be the one-liner for the whole podcast. Don't let the business kill you.
That could be the title,
hashtag
right?
don't let it kill you.
Do not. And so now I still have a lot of work to go. I mean, obviously I haven't quite saved myself, and I've got some goals that I want to do, personal goals, but I'm going to be the one who's going to tell you, as funny and ironic as this is, don't die. I know I'm fat. Okay. I'm cool with that. I'm working on that. But I'm going to be the person to tell you, don't eat animal crackers for lunch. Make sure you take your break. Make sure you drink your water. Make sure you sleep. Make sure you do all those things. Like when your bare minimum, we're going to get real for a minute. If your bare minimum, when you're running a center, is that you open your eyes and you got to brush your teeth and put on, clean undergarments, that's not the standard that we're living in. Right?
No.
But so many center owners, it. You're sleeping, your phone rings. Or like you said, you get that message at 1 a.m. that your opener has a tummy ache after the Super Bowl game because she ate too many nachos, whatever it is. Like this is the reality that we were all living for a very long time. Your body and your mind and your spirit can only take so much stress. So much stress. So I'm like, no, we're not doing that. And I knew I wasn't alone. And so I got on the mic and just said, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm not perfect. I tell people all the time, I'm not perfect. But I do know I'm a leader. And I do know that there are people out there that need to hear this message. And they listen. And they listen. And I'm so grateful that they do.
So I'm glad you did not die in front of a bunch of preschoolers.
Yeah.
So you could share some messages with the rest of the class. But I love that you just talked about what so many people aren't willing to talk about. And that's really, don't let the I wrote about it in my book, and don't let the business take from you more than it gives.
Mm-hmm.
And if it had a heyday season or it fit your lifestyle because you had the young kids, and so, that was where you were in your lifestyle. And now it's like, I'm having panic attacks. The number of people that call me where autoimmune disorders have taken over, or their marriage is in jeopardy because their spouse is like, I don't know you anymore.
Yeah.
Or you're always stressed out, freaked out, depressed, angry. The number of people who are on the verge of mental and physical breakdowns, and not like I need a bubble bath, like I have to change something.
Yeah.
That is a reality. And so, and that's why I wrote the book I wrote, and because someone had to say it. Like someone had to say it's okay if this is happening to you and you've like tried some of the, you've either tried to get some coaching or you've tried to implement some things to like soften that load, but it just fundamentally is not changing. It's okay to choose yourself over your business. Like that's okay. And sometimes we probably need a few more people doing it.
Yeah. And don't be afraid that, like, I love that you said, like coaching and all. There are lots of tools out there, lots of supports out there. I still have 3 very thriving schools that I'm very, happy to have. It's not that I love the industry. I love it so much, but I don't know that I love it enough to die for it. And so, but there are people that are in those places. There really are. And nobody really talks about that.
Can I tell you something crazy?
Sure.
So I have had at least 3 people come up to me and say at some point in time, they were contemplating suicide related to their school, whether it was I had to go where the school did, or it was depression over performance of the school. Like, y'all, that's real. And like, I'm about to get teary-eyed because there is no one in that building that would think it's more important than you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, if you're in a really negative place, and we'll just go ahead and drop into the heavy real quick. If you're in a really negative place, I love that Erica talked about she went and got help. She went to a wellness center. Don't be afraid to call and get therapy. Don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to let your people rise. If you have a director, it's okay as the owner to say, hey, I've got to check out for a little bit. That's what you're paying them for. If you're the director and you have an assistant director, you know what? Give them an opportunity to rise and say, I've got to check out for a little bit. If you're the director and everything, hire someone temporarily and say, I've got to check out for a little bit. But we have to start taking care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. So it's that you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, because if you're passed out, you're not putting the oxygen mask on the 3 babies. Or the older guy who doesn't know how to do it. Right. So, I love that this conversation pivoted to that, because it's almost the taboo, right? Like, we're supposed to show up and be like, yeah, everything's great. And for so many people, it's not great, but they don't see a path forward. They don't see the opportunities that are in front of them. And so another thing, and you talked about, you had your marketing and admin skills from your previous, I always call it previous life, because basically, once we're sucked in this vortex. But you had skills from a previous life that transitioned very well into childcare. So now I kind of want to pivot. What are those childcare skills you developed, or skills you developed inside, while you were running schools that you could take into another evolution? And
there's a lot of people that are doing that now. I mean, I see pages all over social media where people are educators who have moved on, I think is one of them. There's lots of people who are doing things there. Some of them are doing tutoring from home, right? But there's a billion things that you can do. You have skills that you can use. Certainly, we are probably really good at handling crisis situations. We are really good at helping customers. But there's so many things that you could truly do if you wanted to move on. Make a list, living in your joy. I would say that I love people. So all the things I do are around people. My husband is super introvert. If he had to go in any room that had more than 3 people, it was like he was going to get, a root canal. So, find what you really love to do and do that thing. And if your school isn't where you find that joy anymore, you have lots of options. Maybe you keep it as a revenue stream. And like Chelsea said, you hire a team to run it, I did that 10 years for somebody, there's lots of options.
And there are supports out there. I just think we don't even know to ask the questions
Yeah.
that we either don't know we need to ask or we're scared to ask because we think, oh, that must mean I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love that we kind of pivoted this conversation into, what are those opportunities? And everyone's journey looks so different, but we still have these same themes, right?
Yeah.
And because how many owners connect with your story when they hear it, right? Because it's so relatable. Do you have any, if I could go back and tell my younger self, is there any, or when you first started, is there any like glimmer of wisdom kind of hanging around in your head?
Oh goodness. I would say almost I didn't build my business to sell it. I didn't. I had built it for me and the necessity of my community and my children, my families, all those things. I would say I would probably have thought about that sooner, um, making sure that it could survive without me.
Hmm.
I don't know what my exit will look like. Obviously, no one lives forever. Um, and no one does the same thing forever. I mean, even the best, biggest companies in the world, right, have exit strategies, or succession plans, or whatever that looks like. I think I would have probably thought about that sooner than at 55 years old. Um, we had systems, but we grew so fast. We really did. We grew so fast, so sometimes we were, going backwards a little bit to say, okay, how do we duplicate this? Because you can have a system, but you also need the people to duplicate it. I 100% agree in building your team, which is why I was able to get on that plane. The thing holding me back wasn't my team; it was me. I was able to
Yeah.
get on that plane, and now this year I've traveled more than I have in my entire life. I get on the plane all the time by myself. Sometimes I bring family and friends. Sometimes I bring my staff. When we went born to teach, I had 4 of my staff with me. Um, so I would say build your team. I've always done that, but build your team from within and make sure maybe that you build your business like we had started at the beginning of the episode 29 minutes ago. Build your business so that way, whatever that looks like, whether it's your kids are going to take it over, you're going to hire a GM, or you're going to sell it, or you're going to duplicate it, whatever it is going to be, build it so that it's sustainable.
And leave your options open,
Yeah.
right? Like, because you never know when the next amazing opportunity
Hmm.
comes. And if you were so set on this must be the path, how many times do we miss really cool and groovy opportunities that come our way? So I do love the think about the exit when you start, because you're right, that's not something we get into it thinking, but it's really empowering and it does help you make either some growth decisions or some downsizing decisions. Like
Hmm.
if you've got this one-off center that doesn't fit the rest of your schools, it's really
Hmm.
not making, it's a neutral, but it's kind,
Yeah.
but it doesn't even fit the rest of your schools. So
Hmm.
if you were going to sell it, it probably actually wouldn't even be part of the package. Okay, well, if it's not serving you now and it's not going to serve you later,
Yeah.
gift it to someone else. Another aha I've had a lot is sometimes our nightmares are someone else's dream.
Yeah.
And maybe nightmares was a little drastic, but sometimes that one-off school that's kind of driving you bonkers, that's someone else's dream
Hmm.
to own that school. And so, keep that in mind too, because these are all things, I've had to tell myself. I love that you brought up, none of us are perfect, right? And I think that, imposter syndrome gets thrown around, but it is real. All the people you see at the conferences and, speaking on stages and things, they all had to like step into their truth at some time and say, you know what? Yes, I do have something to say and I can do this. And so, if if there is something tugging at you and you're like, you know what, I want to write a book, or because I have people come up to me now, oh my gosh, you wrote a book, I want to write a book. Like, just do it. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what you need to do it. If you want to, start hitting the speaking circuit, sign up for those.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up for your local conferences to start with. They're always looking for fresh speakers.
Yep.
So, your next great adventure, your next best version of your life is probably it's closer than you think if you start saying yes,
Mm-hmm.
and no, because I do
Mm-hmm.
think you have to say no to things.
Yes, a lot of no's. I told my director yesterday, she was talking about something, and I said, you could say no. And she goes, oh, I can't. I went, no, look, what?
No.
No. Her daughter started laughing. I'm like, try it out with me. You can say
I mean, we
no,
say it to
thank
our
you.
kids.
You can say no, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Doesn't quite fit in with what I'm working on right now.
I'm a little bit more of a hard pass. No, it's not gonna work. So, I loved this episode. I loved Don't Let This Business Kill You. Literally and figuratively. I think that was an amazing aha. So, Erica, any other parting wisdom? You want to go ahead and give your podcast a shout out?
Sure. I would just say continue to grow yourself. I think that is really important. No matter what you're going to do, continue to invest in yourself. Keep looking inward. We look outward so much. Like you said, you're looking at this person who wrote the book, a person on the stage. Look inward, because what you're looking for is really there. That was the thing I really found when I was in Arizona. What I was looking for was there. I was always there. And so now I live the life. I live the life. Not rich, not fancy, but I live the life I want. And I want everybody who tunes into today's episode or any of my podcasts, I want you to live the life that you love too. So if you want to hear more from me, tune into the Childcare Directorship podcast on all the major listening platforms and YouTube. We drop episodes every day, Monday through Friday at 1 a.m. in the morning Eastern Standard Time. That way, no matter where you live, it'll be there ready for you when you start your day. So thank you so much, Chelsea.
Absolutely. Thanks for being with us, Erica. And we'll drop a link to her podcast and where you can find her book in the description. And it has been so good to sit down. Like I said, we met at Born to Teach, and we started chatting because I'm nosy, and
and I like so glad. So that was a good mix.
And I'm so glad we did, because I think you have so many awesome nuggets, and I just loved your story, and I knew others would connect with it. So
thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing you soon at another conference.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have anything coming up?
I do not. I just came back from Miami. I'll be in Connecticut in September at Connecticut AUIC.
All right.
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of writing a book too, so I'm doing that right now. So I took the August and September kind of low key, and my baby is getting married the second week of October this year. So we took a few months before the wedding to dial it down. But
I mean, is it going to be a big Italian wedding?
No. So it's not. She will not let us have that. So it is actually going to be quite a quaint little wedding, just 80 folks at a barn. This girl she's something. She's a one of a kind. Let me tell you, she's a one of a kind.
80 is quaint.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. It is if you have a big Portuguese family and Italian family. It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm remarried, so she's got two dads, so she's got two sides of family. So yeah, that's small. That's small for her little list of folks.
See, folks, like, perspective is everything. I had 80 to 100 at mine, and that felt really big, but I'm like an only child, and we have smaller families. So see, different strokes for different folks. Well, Erica, I'm so glad we got to catch up, and I look forward to either seeing you virtually but hopefully in person soon.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the BOP Pod. For free tools, resources, or to connect with Chelsea about selling your childcare business, visit chelseareue.com. That's CHELSEAREUE.com. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with another owner who could use a little less stress and a lot more strategy. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.